Well, you guys, it's that time of year for the last time. That's right, Game of Thrones Season 8, the final season, is premiering this weekend. Game of Thrones hair was the reason I started this YouTube channel back in 2013, so it's bittersweet for me today to bring you a tutorial on Daenerys' Season 8 hairstyles. In this video, I'll show you 2 looks we've seen Daenerys wear in the promotional footage for this season, and how to do them on yourself. Every season, Dany's wig has gotten thicker with more and more hair in it, so in this video, I'm wearing some clip-in extensions on the sides and back of my head to get as close to her look as I can. But thick hair isn't absolutely necessary for these looks. You can still do them with smaller braids. To see what I mean, check out my video of last season's Daenerys hair, linked above, done without extensions. I also have a book called Badass Braids with several Game of Thrones styles in it, along with many other shows and movies, to give you inspiration no matter your hair type or hair length. For both of the looks in this video, start with your hair parted down the center. Then pick up a little bit of hair at one corner of your forehead. Split this into 3 strands. Begin Dutch braiding this hair, which means weaving the outside strands underneath the middle one in alternating order. Also, for the first few iterations, add a small amount of new hair to each outside strand before weaving it under the middle. The new hair should be coming from right next to where the braid is forming. Do this for a few iterations, and then stop adding in new hair to the bottom half of the braid. You're now Dutch lace braiding, adding in new hair to the top strand picked up from your part. Keep forming your Dutch lace braid all the way to the top back of your head. The braid should stay just a few inches away from your part, about where a small crown would sit on your head. And you can control where it sits by adding in new hair that comes from right along your part, rather than farther down the side of your head. When you reach the end of your part, quit adding in new hair and finish this braid normally to the ends. You can then use a small hair tie to tie off this braid and keep it together. Make another braid on the other side of your head, starting from the opposite corner of your forehead. Again, this should start as a full Dutch braid for the first few iterations, where you add in new hair to both the lower and upper outside strands of the braid. And then the braid should turn into a Dutch lace braid, where you only add in hair to the top strand. Pay attention to braiding this one to make sure that it is the same distance from your center part as the other braid was, and that the two are not unbalanced. When you reach the back of your part, stop adding in new hair again and finish this braid to the ends. Now let's start the second tier braids. Pick up a thin strip of hair on the side of your head along your side hairline. Again, split this into 3 strands, and this time start with a Dutch lace braid, adding in new hair from above the braid. Form this braid going directly backwards along the side of your head. When you reach the back of your head, quit adding in new hair and finish the braid normally to the ends. Make a second Dutch lace braid, just like this one, on the other side of your head, giving you 4 braids in total. Now bring the top 2 braids together at the top back of your head. Poke a finger through each one so that you can hold the innermost strand from each braid together. Undo all the braiding below this point so that these strands can merge together into one larger strand. The other 2 strands from each braid should also be merged together to make larger strands. You should now be holding 3 strands in total. Braid these strands together as a normal braid down the back of your head, effectively joining the top 2 Dutch lace braids you made into one braid. After that, the rest of the first style is pretty easy. Simply divide up the rest of your hair into 3 sections, making sure that one smaller braid is included in each section. Braid these sections together as a normal braid down your back. Tie the ends with the hair ties to secure them. At the ends, I'm not quite sure yet if Daenerys has this hair tie wrapped with hair or decorated. We'll have to see when the show officially airs. But for now, I'm just going to add a gold hair cuff here to make it look cool. That last touch gives you Daenerys' first Season 8 hairstyle. The second look is a little more complicated, with some extra braiding to do. Like the first style, create 2 tiers of Dutch lace braids with the top tier merged and braided together at the back of the head. Hold all 3 of these braids together now at the mid to lower back of your head and tie them together with a hair tie. Undo the braiding below this hair tie once it's in place. Now we'll make a 3rd tier of braids. Pick up a small amount of hair from directly behind your ear and start Dutch lace braiding again towards the back of your head. Keep adding in new hair until you reach right up next to the hair tie holding the other braids together, and then braid normally to the ends. Use a small hair elastic at the ends to hold the braid together. Make another Dutch lace braid just like this one on the other side of your head, again starting right behind your ear and forming horizontally backwards until you're right next to the hair tie holding the first few braids. Now pick up both of these new braids and cross them at the back of your head. Lay them up the sides of your head and use bobby pins to secure them in place. Hide the pins by pushing them into the braid, mostly between the strands, or by pushing them in underneath the braid parallel to the braid's direction. Cross the braids again at the top back of your head, and with whatever length is remaining in the braid tails, tuck that underneath the braid crown you've now made and pin in place. From here you could curl your remaining free hanging hair if you want that last bit of Daenerys touch. That would be using a curling wand to get the same sort of curl pattern she has in Season 8. Otherwise, you now have Daenerys' Season 8 hairstyle, a partial crown braid. Hopefully this gets you as excited for Season 8 as I am, and if not, there are lots more Game of Thrones hair tutorials on my YouTube channel Silvousplaits, and in my book Badass Braids, available at all major book retailers. Check those out. And as always, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a good Game of Thrones premiere.